Good morning. Bit of a late start today. Today is my lady's birthday, Katy's birthday. So happy birthday, Katy, out there. I love you, and you're amazing. And the reason why I'm doing all this, the reason why I'm trying to get us a food production going, and just nice, all the things you want to grow and eat and everything. So yeah, I'm really grateful for you, Katy, and for the viewers out there. I'm really grateful that I hope that you guys have something similar, where you have someone that really cares about you and supports you through everything, because that's what she does for me, and I really appreciate that. So happy birthday, Katy, and to many more birthdays together. Very excited. It's a little bright already, because I am out here a little bit later than I usually would be, although it's still before 9, but still, basically once 9 o'clock hits, it starts to get hot, and that's that high shade lesson in the tropics here. So today I'm actually just going to kind of do a quick little check-in with everything, because I've been working upstairs at Hacienda Rosa the past 2 days, so I haven't actually been down here actively managing the system, which is usually fine. We've actually had rain the past 2 days, so I'm not too worried about things not having enough water or anything like that. I do check in every day. I check in with the chickens every day, so I am out here every day, but it's nice to do a more thorough check-in. So I figured I'd just take you guys along with me on that ride, and then you can kind of see what I look for when I'm first checking in on the garden again. So let's get started. First thing, as usual, is the chickens. They are usually pretty self-sufficient as long as they have water and food. And they do have food, although they've knocked it over since this morning. Now, this is why I try not to overfill this thing. I actually filled it pretty high up today. But this is why I try not to overfill it, because I know that these chickens are prone to knocking it over without me being able to get back here to to fix it for them. Luckily, with chickens, if they knock this over and it falls on the ground, they'll still eat that food. They'll still eat it. So it's not really a worry about them not having food. It's a worry about the food kind of getting too mixed in and then not actually eaten, because it's just no longer visible to them. That's my only worry. But that's easy there. Check here. Hey, chickie. How you doing? You can see that she's drinking from that from the water from the poultry nipple there. Rooster's wants to be a little bit higher than me, so he's just above my head height now that I'm kneeling down. He wants to make sure I'm not doing anything strange. But yeah, they have water. I usually just check. I'll push it a little bit, make sure I get some drips. I know they have water because I just filled it yesterday, but it's always good to check. Double check these things every day. Hi, Mama. How you doing? You all right? Lots of talking today. This is Katy's mama. She says, "Happy birthday, Katy. Happy birthday." Yeah, she's agreeing with me there. So far so good in here. Everything seems fine. This deep bedding that I had thrown down the other day, still pretty deep. I'm seeing a little bit of bare soil here, but that'll easily be remedied by just pulling some down and covering it just like that. This tends to be where I get my most bare soil, right along the edge here, and as usual, it is a little bit. So again, I just take some stuff and throw it over. The thing is, they're going to keep scratching it, so it's constantly going to be changing. Some bare soil here, again, just moving that around. Lots of bare soil here, so this is our normal spot to have bare soil. This is kind of the steepest part in here. Do you want to say something? You got something to say? You're just chatting over here. I'm trying to talk. What do you think? Nope. Right here being the steepest part, this is where we get the most kind of kick down. You can see all that is kicked down. So that's my strategy essentially for all of this this mulch and bedding. They're going to start kicking it down, and it usually end up, around here, and then I can take that, pile it up, and make a compost pile out of it. So this is now bare, so I will want to cover that. I'm actually going to do that with some fresh straw, because it did rain pretty heavily. Ooh, hello. It did rain pretty heavily the past couple of days, so I'm just going to be adding some fresh bedding so that they have some nice dry material to step on. So let's do that real quick. And there we go, just a nice slight additional layer. Basically, anytime I see bare soil, I add more mulch. And then I'll find it again, I'll add more. I'll find it again, I'll add more. It's just a constant repeating process here. I'll also take what's have fallen down here and kick it back up often before I throw that new stuff down, just so there's the chance for it to continue to decompose before it gets down to the bottom here where we start processing it. Since I haven't been down here managing them for a couple days now, they're very excited to get out. So I'm going to go ahead and let them out next. Just like that, they're out of here. So they're continuing to kind of process all this stuff. I do need to still harvest a bunch of this kind of older compost, and then everything I don't use, I'm gonna add to the next pile, which will be starting up there. My guess, just based on the organic material growth that I'm having on the property here, is that I'll be able to do a compost pile maybe this week, maybe next week. It just depends on how fast I get a bunch of green growth, because I don't like to start a compost pile until I have a day where I can do a big harvest of kind of greens, overgrowth, because then I can add that into the compost pile as kind of my fresh green material. And I don't like to stress the land too much, so that if I harvest too much at once, then I'm actually just causing harm to the system instead of working within the bounds of the system. So once things get a little bit more lush, like down here, it's already starting to kind of perk up again, start to get a lot. I'm starting to see a little bit of seed head on this grass here, which means that this thing is ready to essentially continue to replicate. So that's all the grass seed right there. And because I usually wouldn't be, necessarily spreading that grass seed, but I do like this grass because it's long and it's great for kind of mulch material, and it's great for compost starting material. So I actually like it. So I'm actually going to use it, and I'm going to throw that grass seed in this area right here where it's been kind of trampled by them. So hopefully, I'm literally just sprinkling it. I'm just going to sprinkle it down, and what finds the ground to start growing will find the ground and maybe grow. We'll see. Taking a look at our calabasa down here. It's doing pretty well. See if I can get you a better angle. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's doing well still. We got another flower here. So maybe we'll get some more from this guy. Who knows? That's the little area we cleaned up. Chickens are happy to be in their dust bath area. Yeah, they like it over here. Let's get you guys a little closer to that. I don't think I've actually brought you close to this yet. So this is just under the house, and this is just all kind of this kind of dusty, it's almost kind of silty material here. And they love this, and all these small little pebbles and everything, they eat those, and that helps them digest their food because they don't have teeth. So they actually grind it up with a bunch of small pebbles within their gizzards. This is kind of their little hangout spot. See Mama, see if I can get her in action here. Go ahead, Mama. No need to be camera shy. So she kind of, yeah, there we go. So she kicks up that dust into her feathers, and it seems like it's actually getting it dirty, but this is actually protecting her from mites, because the mites don't like that kind of dirty dustiness. Apparently, this is how they protect themselves from mites. I'll have to do a little bit more research on the specifics behind that, but so far so good. She's happy. I'm gonna walk up this little ditch here. It's kind of a fun little feature, even though it doesn't make much sense. I gotta turn on the water so I can look in the greenhouse. I'm a little bit worried about what I'm gonna find, although I don't really have anything started right now. So, oh, everything's okay. So the little thing I do have started basically is this, sorry, I'm turn up the screen brightness so I can see what I'm doing here. This cucumber, actually do need to plant this, so I'm actually gonna move him away from here. But the rest of this stuff, nothing came up. And there's probably a couple reasons for that. One of them I think is my mix, my seed starting mix right now. It's just not a great mix, and I know that. I've been trying to constantly basically add in kind of more drainage to it. I prefer compost and sand as my seed starting mix, but I didn't have sand, and the compost I had wasn't mine, so I didn't really know what was in it. And when I made this mix, I basically had perlite and sand, basically perlite and compost, and I just found that it gets really hard. It gets really hard and stiff still, these blocks. So my guess is that it's just not enough drainage in it, and it doesn't free flow water as well as I would like it to. So, but this little guy made it. So I'm gonna actually just kind of keep him in the shade around here for the day, and then later I'm gonna make sure he has some water, and then I'm gonna keep it in the shade, and then later today when it's not so hot, and if we're gonna get rain, we might get some rain later, so I might just wait till right before the rain starts, and I'll come out here and plant him, or plant her, or him or her. So yeah, I'm gonna put him right in here, just kind of like nice little in the shade, out of the way, protected. Might get a little bit of sun, but I'm okay with that. But for the most of the day, he's gonna be protected. It's right next to this melon, which seems to be going back. The chickens actually, this thing's, because it's vining up, I'm having it vine up and try to go across this chicken fence. But I needed them to do that high up. But the chickens actually ended up pecking at it and eating the top of it, which I kind of expected, but it's all an experiment, you know? You're just trying to see what works, what doesn't work. I don't really mind failures, or what you might call failures, because I just try to learn from those failures. So it's okay to try new things, and even if it does fail, unless you like absolutely need to be producing for your family, you know, but even then you're gonna have failures. So just try to learn from them and try new things, because I think this vining up and along this chicken fence here will actually be A, really cool to look at, and B, give me a nice area where once it's up high enough, the chickens won't peck at it, and then I can actually just harvest the cantaloupe from right there at the top, which would be really cool. And this garden, these cucumbers that we planted last week, they're doing great. There's some nice fresh new green growth to them. Apologies for the sunlight, it is a little harsh right now. The sunflowers are doing great. Otto is loving his little time in the garden here. He likes to hide right in here and next to the sweet potatoes. Lizards like to run through these sweet potatoes a lot, so he likes to sit and wait right here for them so that he can pounce whenever he sees one. Sweet potatoes are doing well. These, I should stake these sunflowers so they stay up. That'll be a project I'd try to do the next couple days. I don't really mind if they fall over per se, but I do want them to actually produce, and I don't want them to kind of get trampled. Here, these ground cherries that were just kind of a volunteer. I did seed here with ground cherry, but I didn't expect them to actually take. But there's probably about 10 fruits on right now, kind of harvesting up, and you'll know they're ready when the husk here starts to turn kind of more a papery white color instead of this green color. And you can actually squeeze the paper a little bit and you'll feel the fruit in there. Right now I don't feel it, so I know it's not big enough. This one's starting to turn colors, but the fruit's still very small, so we'll see if this produces. I'm hopeful that it will. It's a really nice growing plant. I think it's going to like it right where it is. So typically if a seed starts, if you seed, direct seed, and the seed starts, it's probably a good place for it. So that's kind of the benefit of direct seeding. you get to learn immediately if things are working. So I have this kind of cilantro that is now seeding. So I could harvest this and use it as coriander, but I'm basically just picking off anytime it gets to a brown seed where it's ready to plant. I'm harvesting it, and then I'm actually planting it in the various gardens here because I want more cilantro. And with seed saving, I don't know if you guys remember me talking about it, is the nice thing about seed saving is that as you save the seeds from your plants on your property, they become more and more adapted to your specific site. So it's getting more, these cilantro seeds are getting more and more adapted to this site that I'm on. So the more I can do that, and the more I can breed those genetics that are going to be beneficial for my site here, the better they're going to grow, and less work I'm going to have to do to make them grow, because they're just going to be used to it here. And I'll get nice productive cilantro, which is my lady's favorite herb that I could grow for her. So I'm very conscientious of that, especially today on her birthday. Let's do this. Check this out. Nice little watermelon update. Doing well. Very happy about it. Excited. There's actually another one over here that formed. Look at that guy. They're so kind of cute when they're little like that. And I think this one over here is starting as well. Little guy on him. So we might actually get some. Ooh, look at that. There's a kind of big one down here hiding from me. I didn't see that till right now. Got lots of tomatoes. Look at that guy. He's just about ripe, ready to pick. Maybe pick him later for some salad. Isn't this cool? This is that Asian green I keep talking about that I still haven't told you guys the name of. I will look that up. I'll do that next and make sure I show it to you. But isn't that pretty? The new growth, it's like this purple leaves, nice purple stems here. It's like, it is edible, but it's also kind of a, it's pretty. It's a pretty leaf. It looks good in salads. So this I think will be a really good market crop. I'm kind of experimenting with it for that. These peppers that we transplanted seem to be doing much better over here. I'm seeing it took them about a few 3-4 days to really start showing any signs of improvement, but I'm now seeing lots of these kind of new leafy growths coming out. They're starting to get bigger. Each one of them has new growth and seems much healthier and happier than they were before. So that's a plus. Flowers are doing great. These flowers remind me of how beautiful Katy is, and that's why I like to plant them. And I also like to pick them for her. Look at this. Oh, they're so pretty. Love them. Love them. And also in this bed, I also have that same kind of purpley, kind of Asian kale thing right in here. I have 2 of them growing in here because I just try to intercrop and see where things work. So these guys like a nice little bit of sun, so I thought they might like it here with the flowers, and so far so good. These zinnias, they are looking great. They're very happy, especially with the rain we had the past few days. So this is a huge burst of new growth. That thing probably grew 3-4 inches in a few days. Very excited about that. This garden over here, everything looks good. Everything's happy. I actually harvested from this garden the other day, and these guys are really, these New Zealand spinach are really perking up since I added that compost and added this banana deep mulch here. They're really looking good. I'm really happy about them. The kale is actually starting to grow up too. So what I did here was actually plant a kale within my lettuces, because this kale is going to last much longer than the lettuces. It's going to be okay with a little more heat than the lettuces are. So when the lettuces go away and they start being, we harvest them enough and they're no longer productive anymore, the kale will be able to take that spot, and then I can seed underneath the kale with something new. The arugula bed's looking great. Everything's happy there. Harvested from there the other day too. So far so good, guys. And that's the nice thing. Once you kind of get your garden up and running and things are happening, you do need to check in on a regular basis, right? But it can be a little less frequent. You might get a little bit of weed growth, which I certainly do have. It's time to kind of go through and weed the beds and remulch, certainly in a few places. So that's definitely on the to-do list. Maybe not when it's really hot today, but at some point today, and or even tomorrow. So that's the nice thing. It's like weeding, mulching, and everything. You can put it off as long as you don't put it off too long. So that's kind of the key. You got to find that balance between putting it off and putting it off to the point where the weeds have overtaken your garden and you don't have any control anymore. Looks like we might be able to harvest another set of coconuts soon too. Actually, probably a couple here. That one right there is probably ready. These ones are too. They've been sitting there for a while, so I think we could probably do two to three bunches of coconut harvest coming up, and which is good. I want to get these nice low ones down so we can actually plant the vanilla vine that's over at my mom's house right there. And here are the chickens. They're exploring this deep mulch as usual. They want to scratch it up and undo the job that I did, but I still love them despite them trying to undo all my things. They're actually probably eating that grass seed I just threw down. They're probably finding it all and eating those little bits. It's amazing what they can find. Stuff that we wouldn't even think about looking at, they can find. Good job, them. All right, guys, that's it for me today. It's just a quick little one. Again, it's my lady's birthday, so I want to spend as much time as I can with her. And I have a couple other kind of honey-do list items to check off the list today. I got to paint the bathroom and make sure she's comfortable and having a good day. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoy. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you like what I'm doing here. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.